The CDC just updated its 2025 report on indoor allergens in American homes. Cockroach allergens are now classified as a top 3 trigger for pediatric asthma attacks nationwide. And here's the number that should make every parent pay attention. A 2023 national study found that 63% of American homes contain detectable cockroach allergen in kitchen dust, even in homes where the owner has never visibly seen a cockroach. You don't have to have an obvious infestation. You just have to have a pantry, a kitchen, and a home that connects to other homes or drainage systems. That describes almost every dwelling in the United States. Most people will feel the effects of this slowly. Kids with recurring asthma, a family member with mysterious allergies that get worse at night. Nobody connects it to what's happening in the gaps behind the refrigerator. Here's what I'm doing about it right now. This week, in my own kitchen, for under $3 total. Let me explain why this matters more now than it did 10 years ago. Cockroaches carry over 30 species of bacteria on their bodies, including E. coli, Salmonella, and Staphylococcus aureus. They walk through drains, sewage traces, and garbage, and then they walk across the dishes in your cabinet and the food in your pantry. The EPA has documented that cockroach saliva, droppings, and shed body parts are among the most potent allergens found in U.S. homes. In children, chronic exposure is linked to asthma onset. Not just asthma worsening. It can actually cause the condition in kids who wouldn't otherwise develop it. A single female German cockroach, the most common indoor species in America, produces up to 400 offspring in her lifetime. Under ideal conditions, a population doubles every 35 days, which means if you see one cockroach today, you almost certainly have dozens you haven't seen yet. Climate shifts are making this worse. Milder winters mean cockroach populations that used to die back seasonally now survive year-round in more U.S. regions. Pest control companies have publicly noted that cockroach service calls have increased significantly over the past 5 years. The pest control industry generates over $26 billion a year in the U.S. Cockroach treatment is one of the largest service categories inside that number. And here is what no exterminator will tell you when he's quoting you $300 for an initial visit. Most cockroach infestations can be prevented and controlled for under $3 with 2 items that are already in most grocery stores. Take 10 seconds and answer this honestly. When is the last time you pulled your refrigerator out from the wall and looked behind it? When is the last time you looked under your sink with a flashlight and checked the corners? For most people, the answer is never. And that's exactly where the problem is. Here is the complete plan. You can do all of it in under 90 minutes this Saturday morning. Item 1, a bag of whole dried bay leaves, any grocery store. Spice aisle, usually under $2 for a jar with 30 to 50 leaves. That's a year of supply. Bay leaves contain a compound called eucalyptol, also known as 1,8-cineol. To a cockroach, eucalyptol is a powerful neurological irritant. It disrupts their ability to navigate, mate, and reproduce. A 2014 study published in the Journal of Economic Entomology tested eucalyptol vapors against Blatella germanica, the German cockroach, and documented significant avoidance behavior and reduced oviposition in treated areas. Translation: the cockroaches stay away, and the ones that do enter fail to lay eggs. Item 2, a box of boric acid powder. Hardware stores, pharmacies, or online. Usually $2 to $4 for a box that lasts years. Boric acid is the only affordable cockroach killer with documented permanent colony collapse potential. It's been EPA registered as a pesticide since 1948. It's the exact same compound your great-grandmother used before the chemical pesticide industry rebranded pest control as a subscription service. When a cockroach walks through boric acid, microscopic particles stick to its body. The roach grooms itself, cockroaches groom obsessively, and ingests the powder. Boric acid damages the roach's digestive system and nervous system simultaneously. Death occurs within 72 hours. And here's the critical detail. When that roach returns to the nest and dies, other cockroaches consume the body. Cockroaches are cannibalistic. The boric acid passes through the entire colony this way. One application, entire colony collapse. That's how the pest control industry was supposed to work before it became a billion-dollar subscription business. Bay leaves repel. Boric acid kills. Together, they are the complete system. Total cost, under $3. Total time to set up, 45 minutes. Step 1, bay leaf placement. Take 15 to 20 whole dried bay leaves. Do not grind them. Whole leaves release eucalyptol slowly over weeks. Ground leaves release it in hours and then stop working. Place 2 to 3 leaves in each of these locations. Inside every kitchen cabinet, especially corners. Along the back of each pantry shelf. Inside dry goods containers. Rice, flour, pasta, dried beans. The leaves are food safe and commonly used in cooking. They add a faint savory scent to your grains, nothing more. Behind the refrigerator and under the stove, under the kitchen sink in both back corners. Refresh every 6 to 8 weeks. When you can barely smell the herb by scratching a leaf, it's time to replace. Step 2, boric acid placement. This part requires care if you have small children or pets. Boric acid is low toxicity for humans, but should not be ingested in meaningful quantities. Place it in locations only cockroaches can reach. Apply a very light dusting of boric acid powder in the following locations: behind and underneath the refrigerator, under the stove, inside the void under the kitchen sink, along the back wall and around pipe penetrations, behind the dishwasher, along the top of upper cabinet interiors where they meet the wall. The application should be so light that it looks like a dusting of powdered sugar, barely visible. Cockroaches will not walk through a heavy visible pile of powder. They will walk through a thin film they can't see. This is the mistake that makes most DIY boric acid treatments fail. People pour it on like sand at the beach. Less is dramatically more effective. Step 3. The bait upgrade, optional but powerful. Mix 1 tablespoon of boric acid with 2 tablespoons of peanut butter or sugar and a teaspoon of water until you get a thick paste. Form small pea-sized balls, place them on small squares of cardboard or wax paper in the same locations as the boric acid dusting. Cockroaches are strongly attracted to the peanut butter or sugar. They consume the bait. The boric acid does the rest. Check and refresh the bait balls every 2 weeks. Dried out bait stops attracting. Step 4. Close the entry points. Cockroaches enter through gaps smaller than you'd believe. A German cockroach can flatten through a gap as thin as 1.6 millimeters, about the thickness of 2 credit cards stacked. Walk your kitchen with a flashlight. Look at the gap where the baseboard meets the floor behind the fridge, the opening where water pipes enter under the sink, the gap at the top of cabinets against the wall, cracks in caulk around the stove and countertops. Use silicone caulk or expanding foam to seal anything bigger than a credit card's thickness. A tube of caulk costs $3 at any hardware store. This is your prevention for the next 5 years. If you've watched this far, you now have the exact system that would cost $300 to $600 if an exterminator installed it for you. Total out-of-pocket cost for you, under $6 including the caulk. The only question left is whether you'll do it this weekend or put it off until you see a cockroach in your flour container. I need to be straight with you about what this method does and doesn't do, because other channels will promise you miracles and leave out the caveats that matter. Bay leaves alone will not kill an existing cockroach colony. They repel, they disrupt reproduction, but they don't kill adult roaches directly. If you already have a visible infestation, bay leaves alone will just push the roaches to a different part of your home. You need the boric acid component to actually eliminate the population. Boric acid kills cockroaches, but it works slowly, 72 hours per roach, and several weeks for a full colony collapse. If you need immediate elimination of a heavy infestation, you may need to supplement with gel bait stations in the first 2 weeks while the boric acid works through the population. Gel bait stations cost $6 to $10, still far less than professional service. This method targets German and American cockroaches, the 2 most common U.S. indoor species. It works less effectively on larger outdoor species like oriental cockroaches. For those, entry point sealing becomes more important than internal treatment. And finally, the obvious one. If you don't remove food sources, no repellent or killer will work long term. Crumbs on the counter, pet food left out overnight, a leaking pipe creating a wet spot under the sink. These feed the colony faster than any treatment can kill it. Clean counters daily, store pantry items in sealed containers, fix water leaks the day you find them. That's the foundation the bay leaves and boric acid build on top of. Here's what I want you to understand about why this system works and why the industry wants you not to know about it. An exterminator visit costs $200 to $550 for the initial treatment. Monthly or quarterly follow-up contracts cost another $400 to $200 per year. Over 10 years, that's $4,000 to $12,000 per household for cockroach control alone. The same control, bay leaves plus boric acid plus entry sealing, costs under $20 over those same 10 years, refreshed periodically. That's a 99.8% cost reduction for the exact same outcome. This isn't about panicking. It's about recognizing that every problem the pest control industry solves for you, they are solving at 200 times the cost of what the solution actually requires. Because their business model depends on recurring visits, not permanent fixes. Bay leaves are a permanent fix. Boric acid is a permanent fix. Caulk around your pipes is a permanent fix. Permanent fixes don't renew quarterly. That's the entire reason you've never been told about them by the people you pay to solve the problem. Do this Saturday morning, not next month. This Saturday. 1 jar of bay leaves, $2. 1 box of boric acid, $3. 1 tube of caulk, $3. 90 minutes of work in your kitchen. Enough protection for several years, with 10-minute refreshes every 2 months. You're protecting your children from asthma triggers the CDC has publicly warned about. You're protecting your food from bacterial contamination that cockroaches carry on their bodies. You're cutting off one of the most profitable subscription services the pest control industry has ever invented. All 3 outcomes for the cost of a fast food meal. Next week, I'm showing you the 7 pantry items that quietly attract cockroaches more than any other food in your kitchen, and exactly how to store them so they stop being a magnet. Some of these items will surprise you. Most people store them the exact wrong way. If this gave you a real plan you can actually use, send it to one person who's been paying an exterminator for years without ever solving the problem. They deserve to know what the quarterly invoice has been hiding from them. See you in the next one.